All right, one of those moments of solitude we all wish for, or say we wish for, or something like that. Um, the the stuff about the relationship between this natural world of ours, society, and yourself is the difference between what's today called top down and bottom up. Top down being religion and philosophy, as I mentioned before, and bottom up being science. So you've got this notion that even though it started in philosophy, that you are the accumulation of whatever experiences you have. Started with people like Socrates and went to the existentialists in the 20th century. Now we're giving sort of a physiological description of it in natural science, because your brain is making, brain and body, all of the details that go collectively to make up you. So what I'm saying, while what I'm saying seems like nonsense, it's, I assume, it's really just an attempt to figure out how traveling figures into this, why people like me feel they need to go off and experience new stuff. Socrates' take on it is that you're getting more of yourself. All right, to illustrate this point, that is about your experiences making up you, and the reason some people take it seriously, I do. And by the way, there's that inescapable soccer pitch here on once again on the coast of Greenland. Um, I want to take a group of folks that used to live here in this area, who no longer do, uh, the Vikings, who have a settlement about a 45-minute boat ride from here, which I won't be able to make, but which has the last remaining Norse church. If you're in the area, uh, I've seen pictures of it. It definitely seems worth going. It's just now opening for the season. Um, Bloodthirsty is the kind of description you get of those people. But when I think of this environment, without all the accoutrements, there's no soccer pitch, there's no electric lighting, there are no modern boats as we know them, like the one you see parked right over there. No cars, of course, no comfortable housing. So when you think of those people, what they had to endure and the sort of lifestyle they had, something like their civilization with their aesthetics and their mores would be completely normal. I mean, it's survival, not just of the fittest, but of the strongest, of whoever can make it in this cold world. So, and I just got through finishing Francis Fukuyama's Origin of Political Order. Without anything like rule of law, um, forget democracy entirely, uh, accountable states, uh, none of that's possible. So, you know, the fact that we've kind of muddled our way toward those kinds of things is phenomenal, and says something about the nature of not just cultural evolution, but the kind of thing we are. So I'm alleging that I'm a different kind of critter because that is culturally, which ends up being having its influence on biologically, because I have things like this camera in front of my face and all of these things around me, where a Viking just several hundred years ago, 1,000 years ago, let's say, would have had none of this. So the world would have been a much different place, and he or she a much different person as a result. Here's the local schoolhouse, presumably where those kids are getting their education. Great view from here, I'll tell you what. You study there and you look out onto that, gorgeous. Now here's something I forgot to mention. There's a collection of 30 large rocks here in the town that have been carved by artists. The city commissioned them from various artists, and it's a great way to do art, to just put it out in the middle of the community like this. I don't know if this has any affiliation with that. The rest are in stone, because it's apparently the stone here is pretty malleable, and so they've got all kinds of sculptures all over. So no reason to go into a museum or avoid going into a museum. You can see it all right here. Well, I guess some things are universal. Everybody loves a good Stratocaster, rock music. And then when you live in Greenland, see if I can get around here. Lots of traffic in this narrow constraint here. You've got places called Miami, because for Greenland, that is quite exotic. It's fascinating to hear things like that when you travel. People go, they talk about Florida or California, and it's a magical land. And those of us who live in such places, we know it is, but we forget that. And from a distance, especially a distance this remote and chilly, Miami and rock and roll music can seem like one of the most magical things you could do. All right, one of the things I noticed going from Iceland here to Greenland is that while in Greenland there are there's a hot water heater up top there, lots of solar panels, you don't see electric cars. Individuals can install those things on their own. And this person's really gone at it. They've got it on every side of the house pretty extensively, which is terrific and smart. But there isn't the infrastructure here to do electric yet. There just aren't enough people. And, you know, it's those kinds of sociological factors, economic factors that really shape what a place is like. We're a couple years, I guess 3 years into the war of Russia against Ukraine, and so, you know, people are thinking again more about these kinds of things, but the ability to get something like democracy, which Russia sorely lacks, and is far less likely to get as long as they keep doing this kind of stuff, is just one of the things that, you know, we take for granted. We don't realize how much material conditions depend on that kind of thing. Hello there. Yeah, those little girls are growing up here in Greenland, and politics is probably not a big deal. It's mostly material conditions and you know, survivability, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's like, because then all of a sudden some big cruise ship comes into town, brings a whole bunch of folks from mainly Europe and the United States, or Europe and North America, and you know, the people in those countries forget just how much our ability to have the freedoms that we enjoy, it is a Memorial Day today, are as much dependent on material conditions as they are on brave men and women who have risked or given their lives in order to ensure or preserve those freedoms. There's a helipad there in front of the ship. Beautiful place. Unfortunately, I have to leave soon. All right, right up here is that fur factory that I mentioned earlier. There's people who do the dirty work of skinning animals and tanning hides and turning them into various products, which can seem a little bit barbaric to some people, forgetting that, say for those people that I've been spending time around, the steaks and fillets that we've been consuming as a group require the same sort of butchering and whatnot. So, but for anyone who's looking for something cute to wear, or made of various sea critters, or elk or fox or anything like there, right there, there's the Great Greenland Fur House. And I've seen lots of antlers around. I still have yet to see any live elk or reindeer.